You ever walk into a room, and before anyone even says a word, you know who holds the power? It's not the guy talking loud, not the one cracking jokes to get attention. It's the one who says the least, but feels like the most. That's the paradox of high-value men. They don't perform value, they radiate it. They understand something most men miss. Real presence doesn't compete, it commands. And it starts with one thing, being totally comfortable in silence, because silence is power, and only the insecure try to fill it. The high-value man doesn't seek the spotlight. He is the spotlight, because everything about him whispers, I don't need validation. I validate myself. And that energy, it's like a magnet. It pulls people in, without a single word spoken. The loudest man in the room often wants one thing, attention. But the man who keeps his volume low, his movements intentional, his gaze steady, he wants nothing. And that's what makes him dangerous. See, high-value men don't need to speak just to fill silence. They speak with purpose. And when they do, people listen. Not because of the volume, but because of the weight behind every word. Most men chase presence by talking more. He creates it by doing less. He understands that in a world addicted to noise, silence becomes seductive. People lean in to hear him. They pay attention to his expressions, his posture, his stillness. He's not broadcasting his value, he's embodying it. And women, they feel it instantly. They sense he's grounded, in control, not performing. That's not just attractive, it's unforgettable. Because in a room full of noise, the one who stays calm becomes the signal. He doesn't fight to be seen. He's not trying to stand out, because real presence doesn't need permission. It doesn't ask for attention. It commands it. High-value men understand this. You don't need to perform if you already believe in your value. Most men walk into a room wondering, do they like me? Am I impressive enough? Should I speak up to be noticed? But he walks in with one thought. I already belong here. Not because of ego, because of self-respect, because he knows what he brings, even if no one else does yet. That mindset? It changes everything. It makes his body language grounded, his eye contact sharper, his energy calmer, not tense or reactive, and people feel it. That quiet confidence draws curiosity, makes people wonder, who is he? What's his story? What does he know that we don't? This isn't arrogance, it's control. If you're finding value in this mindset, consider subscribing. It's the kind of content that sharpens who you are, not just how you act. He doesn't chase conversations. He lets them come to him. Because a man of value doesn't seek to prove himself. He already knows who he is. And that self-assurance, it does the heavy lifting for him, while others compete to talk, to joke, to show off. He stays selective. He speaks when it matters, not when he's desperate to be heard. And that silence, it becomes volume. People lean in when he talks, not because he's loud, but because his words mean something. When you're not always filling the air, your presence becomes rare, and what's rare becomes valuable. This is the paradox most men miss. You don't stand out by doing more. You stand out by doing less, with more intention. Watch closely next time you're in a room. Who's talking the most? Who's trying the hardest? And who's just there, calm, grounded, magnetic? You'll see the difference. He doesn't react, he responds. And that distinction is everything. Most men get pulled into the emotional chaos of a room. Someone challenges them, they puff their chest. Someone jokes at their expense, they laugh too hard, too long. But the grounded man, he pauses, he observes. Then he chooses his move, not out of fear, not out of ego, but out of clarity. This kind of restraint makes people uneasy, in a good way. They can't predict you. And what people can't predict, they respect. Because it signals you're not living by reaction, you're living by intention. That presence, still, calm, deliberate, is felt before you ever speak. It fills the room in ways noise never could. People start to wonder, what's going on behind that calm face? Why doesn't he need to prove anything? What does he know that we don't? And that is the moment you win the room, without ever needing to dominate it. He's not the loudest voice. He doesn't need to be. Because the grounded man knows, true strength whispers, it never shouts. In a world full of noise, he becomes the signal. While others over-explain, overshare, overcompensate, he lets silence do the talking. When he enters a room, people don't just look, they notice. Because presence isn't about posture, it's about certainty. And here's the twist. It's not just women who feel this. Men feel it too. They may not admit it, but they recognize when a man doesn't play the same insecure social games. He doesn't need validation, doesn't seek permission, doesn't chase attention. That's the energy that bends a room around you. And when you move with purpose, not for approval, not for applause, but because you decided it was time. And that shakes the ground more than any speech ever could. Now here's what separates the powerful from the forgettable. Once the room feels your presence, most men make one fatal mistake. They try to maintain it. They start performing, cracking jokes they didn't plan, saying things just to sound smart, flexing stories to impress. But a high-value man, he does the opposite. He doesn't chase the moment. He leaves it hungry. He might drop one line, one insight, one question, then silence. And that silence, it's not awkward, it's magnetic. Because he knows the moment he tries to hold on, he starts to lose it. True power lies in being willing to walk away, even from the spotlight. The quietest men in the room are often the ones everyone is watching, because their silence carries intention. And the woman across the room, she's not impressed by volume. She's intrigued by mystery, by a man who doesn't reveal everything, because he doesn't need to. And that's the difference between the man who demands attention and the one who simply commands it. She doesn't remember what he said. She remembers how still he was, how he didn't fight to be noticed. Because presence like that, it's not taught. It's earned through restraint. That's why the men who speak less often echo the loudest in her mind. They don't flood the room, they anchor it. This is the Stoic path. Silent, grounded, unshakable. And if you're ready to walk it, subscribe. Now I want to hear from you. What's one moment you chose silence over reaction? And how did it change the way people saw you? Drop it in the comments. I'm reading, always.